Hello everybody. I have been wanting to make a video regarding the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine for a while now. And a couple of days ago, I saw a live video that a Facebook friend of mine made, where he was, as a man, taking responsibility for what the Divine Masculine has been perpetuating against the Divine Feminine. Seeing this video, it really did something for me. Like, there was some internal shift happening, some understandings, etc., etc. And it's a pretty cool video. So I'll put the link in there if you want to go watch it. I really recommend you watching it. So first of all, I just want to say, just because you're a man doesn't make you exclusively the masculine energy, or just because you're a woman doesn't make you exclusively the woman energy, the feminine energy. We all have both the feminine and the masculine within us. Okay, this is important to know because it's not us versus them kind of thing. You know, that's a very, in my opinion, a very wounded masculine way of seeing the world. You know, us versus them, and you know, we need to build these walls and stuff like that. That's a very masculine thing to do. Whereas the feminine is all about, you know, nurturing and accepting and stuff like that, compassion and love. So I want to begin by saying that we have all been playing our parts in perpetuating this dysfunctional dynamic that we are currently in. We have all been in some way perpetuating not the submission, the like, what's the word I'm looking for, the trotting down of the feminine. We've all been perpetuating that, and that can be as small as like not allowing yourself to express yourself, which is basically your masculine not allowing your feminine to come forth. And it can go all the way to like basically saying women aren't allowed to speak at all, and women should be like in the kitchen making food, stuff like that, you know. So like I said, we've all been perpetuating this dynamic, unbeknownst to us. Like, it's because of ignorance, it's because of unconsciousness. But now's the time that people need to start knowing and need to start taking responsibility for what they're doing and how they are relating to themselves, first of all, and then as a consequence to the world. So the world that we're living in, very, very masculine oriented. It's a patriarchy, isn't it? Not for long though. It's ending. The goddess is here. The goddess is rising. I work very much with the feminine energy. I work very much with the goddess. It's something that I have been getting so much of late again, because, you know, I look back at my life and, well, seeing as I'm pretty feminine myself, if I look back at my life, it's always been women. It's always been girls, like everywhere. I've never really gotten along that well with men. There have been the occasional like bro thing going on, but not really. You know, it's always been women. It's always been the feminine very much present in my life, and that is also because one of my main purposes of being here is to assist the goddess in awakening. Because, you know, women have so much pain. You know, there is so much generational pain and cultural pain as well. I mean, if you go look at certain cultures, you know, women are really oppressed. That's the word I was looking for. Women are really being oppressed all around the world. Even in the Western world, it's still kind of seen as okay to belittle women in a way, to kind of see women just as sex objects, or, you know, stuff like that. This goes both ways though. Just like there's also the wounded feminine that's now like trying to suppress the masculine. You see this with this really intense like feminist women and men even, like going around trying to suppress men completely. It's just the pendulum swinging the other way now, but it's not healthy at all. It's not a healthy way of living. You know, the past few thousand years, we've been living in a state of incompleteness. It's actually quite interesting if you go research a bit about Asherah. Asherah used to be the consort or the wife of El or Yahweh, which is the God of the Old Testament, Yahweh or Jehovah. I don't really know how you pronounce, like which one. Nobody really knows how you pronounce his name. But besides the point, like Yahweh used to have a wife. He used to have a female counterpart. And that goddess, that being was just completely written out of history. She was just completely forgotten. Actually, like in parts of the Old Testament, it's actually said that she is not allowed to be worshipped anymore. It's seen as blasphemous because there's only one God, etc., etc. And I'm not saying this is just Yahweh's fault or this is just the Jews' fault. That's ridiculous. Like you see this in a lot of cultures. You see this in a lot of religions where the masculine takes the center stage and the feminine is pushed back. We've been living in a state of incompleteness. We've been living with one part of the whole completely removed. I mean, it's dysfunctional, you know, it just doesn't work. It hasn't been working. I mean, if you look at the history of humanity, it's always been very warlike and very aggressive and stuff like that. But it's only in the last, like, maybe 100 years or so where a lot of human rights have started to come in, you know, like where the whole class system has been starting to break down, etc., etc. And that is because then we were moving into the age that we are in now, the age of wholeness, the age where the goddess like makes herself known again, where the goddess becomes a part of the whole again, you know, where it's not just the masculine side of things, but where the feminine comes in as well. And it's a really necessary thing for us. So I'm also making this video because I want people to know that we each have a responsibility to actually make that happen, to actually get into that world or that reality. You know, in order for us to change the world, we need to change ourselves. In order to heal humanity, you need to heal yourself, right? Because everything starts here. Like, your whole reality starts with you. Like, your whole reality is a projection of what's going on inside of you. So if we balance the masculine and the feminine within ourselves, our reality tends to project that, and we would go into this flow of seeing that, oh well, yeah, well, the goddess is here, like it's this whole, like everything is in balance, etc., etc. So how would we balance the masculine and the feminine? Because these are quite new concepts to a lot of people, right? So it's actually quite simple, and I said this in a previous video as well. Like, the only thing you really need to do, like, you don't even need to do it, but the only thing that is kind of, I don't want to say expected of you, but the only thing that has to be done in order to see change is to connect with your heart space. So I say this regarding the masculine and the feminine because the upper three chakras, like we have a whole lot of other chakras and energy centers as well, but the 7 main chakras, right, that I'm talking about, is the upper 3 chakras is the crown chakra, it's the third eye chakra, and then it's the throat chakra. So these chakras are the masculine energy centers that connect you with Father Sky, and then the lower 3 chakras, which is the root chakra, and then the sacral chakra, and then the solar plexus chakra, or the feminine chakras, the feminine energy centers that connect you with Mother Earth. And then, smack in the middle of these energy centers, in the middle of your whole being, you find your heart chakra, which is, like I said, it's the middle of your being. It's where you find your balance. So once you bring your heart chakra in alignment, and you do that by just connecting with your heart chakra, you do that by just being aware of it. Once you bring this energy center into alignment, everything else just falls into alignment as well. Like it's just a natural side effect. You know, when you live from our heart has this like energetic field that it like makes around us. And when that is out of balance, everything else in our reality is out of balance. Like the most important thing for people to know is just to get into their heart space. That's like the only thing we need to do. In order for us to bring the masculine and the feminine into balance as well. The time that we are living in at the moment, like I said, it's a time where the goddess is rising. I see a lot of women in a lot of pain. I see a lot of women not having any boundaries. And that is because their masculine has failed them, but they have also been allowing it. I'm not saying that this is a touchy subject. I'm not saying that people are responsible for what has happened to them. I'm not saying, for instance, I'm just going to leave it there. People aren't responsible for what happened to them, but we are responsible for how we deal with it moving forward. We are responsible for the choices we make now. Otherwise, you just keep perpetuating this victim mentality, which is a wounded feminine, in my opinion, attribute. The wounded feminine tends to be a very victimhood mindset. Like, oh, I can't do this, I need a man, etc., etc. Like, yes, this has been perpetuated to us, but it is a choice that we can make in order, like, we can choose to either follow it or not, right? Just also to talk about a little bit about the wounded masculine. The wounded masculine, who for me the epitome of is a very Yahweh-like being, is very controlling and very aggressive and very angry and very jealous as well. Whereas the divine masculine, you know, the healed masculine, is very protective, also very nurturing, to be honest, actually. It's not just a feminine aspect, but the divine masculine is very protective and also allowing, in a sense, that he holds space for the feminine to fully express herself. So again, this is really up to each one of us to bring into balance within ourselves. You know, you can go out and be like, yeah, well, you know, equal rights for women, etc., etc., and that's great and everything, but nothing is going to change unless we change within ourselves. I mean, that's where the real change happens. That's what actually matters, because as soon as I change myself, I give permission for the person next to me to change themselves, and then it's just this domino effect, and it keeps rolling and it keeps going. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say. Let's each take responsibility for our own feminine and our own masculine, you know. We have to allow ourselves to express ourselves. We have to set firm boundaries for other people, not to protect ourselves, because people will always try to take from you. Some people will always try to do bad to you, but it doesn't mean necessarily they're bad people. It's just because they are wounded themselves. So this whole feminine and masculine thing coming into alignment and coming into balance is basically just about taking responsibility for yourself. And that's what it's all about. I spoke with a lady yesterday that I met. Her name's Rena, and she said something that I've been resonating, that I resonated quite well with, and that I've been thinking of this, and I've come to this conclusion myself as well a couple of times, is that, you know, ultimately everything is just about your sovereignty. Ultimately everything is just about empowering yourself. You know, yes, there are gods and there are these beings and like angels that you channel and stuff like that, but ultimately the main focus of life and the ascension process and what God and Goddess wants for you is for you to empower yourself completely, to be completely sovereign within yourself. And that's what it's all about. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them. I would love to talk to you as well. And yeah, much love to everybody. I hope you have an amazing day. And I don't know what else to say, so I'm going to log off now. Bye.